Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into the new front lines of digital security. This is a place where artificial intelligence isn't just our ultimate defender, it's also the most valuable target.
So just to give you some context, what we're covering today is actually part 3 of a much larger 15-part series. It's all based on a really comprehensive guide by Virtualization Options LLC. We're going to be zooming in on a critical piece of the puzzle. What happens when attackers stop trying to avoid AI and start targeting the AI systems themselves?
And that really brings us to the central question, doesn't it? We've built these incredible, powerful AI systems to be our digital guardians. But what happens when the bad guys stop trying to sneak around the AI and start trying to break the AI itself?
And this is where things get really interesting. You see, while we think of AI as this impenetrable shield, it has a fundamental vulnerability. And it's not about finding a bug in the code. Nope. It's about exploiting the very logic, the very math that makes the AI so smart in the first place.
Okay, so the technical term for this is adversarial machine learning. And the core idea here is just fascinating. Attackers aren't really hacking the software in the traditional sense. They're manipulating the underlying math. They create these sneaky, deceptive inputs that are designed to trick an AI model into making a huge mistake, like seeing a dangerous piece of malware and calling it safe.
So let's put on our black hats for a minute and really look at this from the attacker's point of view. How do they actually pull this off? Well, it turns out they have a whole new arsenal of sophisticated weapons for this new kind of digital war.
Generally, these attacks break down into 3 main categories, and you can think of them in pretty simple terms: sabotage, evasion, and espionage. Each one targets the AI in a totally different and, frankly, a uniquely clever way.
So here's the attacker's playbook, in a nutshell. First, you've got evasion. That's all about disguise, making a malicious file look harmless when the AI scans it. Then there's poisoning. That's pure sabotage. You corrupt the AI while it's still learning, so it has a built-in blind spot later on. And finally, extraction. That's espionage, tricking the AI into giving up its own secrets or, even worse, the private data it was trained on.
So let's start with evasion, which is really the art of digital camouflage. An attacker takes their malware and just adds these tiny, almost imperceptible changes, the experts call them perturbations, that are basically invisible to the AI detector. Now, these little changes don't stop the malware from being malicious, but they're just enough to fool the AI. The threat is still there, it's just wearing an invisibility cloak.
Next up is poisoning, and this one is just truly insidious. It's like planting a sleeper agent inside the AI's mind. See, what attackers do is they secretly poison the very data the AI is learning from. By feeding it bad examples from the start, they can create a fundamental flaw, a secret backdoor, right into the model's logic. They're basically teaching it to trust bad guys from day one.
And rounding out our trio of threats, we have extraction and inversion attacks. You can just think of this as high-tech espionage. Attackers send a whole series of clever questions to a live AI model. By analyzing how it responds, they can either steal the model itself, which is a company's valuable intellectual property, or even worse, they can actually reconstruct this sensitive, private data that the model was trained on. And that is a massive, massive breach.
Okay, so that's the threat. It's sophisticated, it's clever, and yeah, it's a little bit scary. So, the big question is, how do we fight back? Well, the good news is the security world isn't just standing still. Researchers are developing some really innovative new ways to build more resilient AI defenses.
It's not about one silver bullet. The key is a multi-layered defense. First up is something called adversarial training. It's basically a sparring session for your AI. You intentionally show it attack examples so it learns how to recognize deception. Second is input pre-processing. Think of this like a sanitation checkpoint that cleans and checks data before it ever reaches the model. And third, you have ensemble defenses. I love this one. Instead of one AI guard, you have a whole team of them, all with different skills, which makes it way harder for an attacker to fool all of them at once.
But this brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. For all this incredible, advanced technology, you can never rely on AI alone. Traditional security tools and, crucially, human experts provide an essential safety net. You know, that redundancy, that human element, that's what's going to save you when a really sophisticated attack manages to fool the algorithm.
So, where does this all leave us? Well, we're in a classic arms race. It's a constant back and forth. As defenders build better, tougher AI, attackers are busy developing smarter ways to break it.
which, of course, then forces the defenders to innovate again. It's a continuous cycle with innovation happening on both sides of the fence.
So if we're going to sum it all up, the state of the battlefield really looks like this. AI is now both the weapon and the target. The most dangerous attacks are focused on clever deception and espionage, not just brute force. Our defense can't be a static wall. It has to be a living, breathing, adaptive process. And what that means is the winning strategy for the foreseeable future will always be a true partnership between intelligent machines and expert humans.
And that really leaves us with one final, kind of chilling question to think about. In this constant algorithmic arms race between attacker and defender, is it even possible for the good guys to ever truly get ahead, or are we destined to be locked in this fight forever?